These are the mountains of the Azuma Range, which are located on the border of the Fukushima and Yamagata prefectures. At the foot of these mountains, Japanese red pines grow wild, while at the 500-meter or higher level, Japanese white pines grow naturally. Japanese white pines are a sturdy tree type, which grow under severe natural conditions, and they are a wonderful example in nature of bonsai-style beauty. You can always find Japanese white pine bonsai on the shelves of bonsai lovers. Japanese white pine needles are very strong and short. The tree itself is easy to grow, and it is easy to shape the way you want it. These are the reasons why the Japanese white pine attracts bonsai enthusiasts. You can either grow it from a seed or from a seedling. If you can make the best use of the tree's natural character, then you can enjoy the harmony of its natural beauty. The Japanese white pine grows naturally from the Hidaka district in Hokkaido in the north to Kyushu in the south. However, because of the difference in the shapes of the wings on the seeds, there are two types of this pine tree, the northern type and the southern type. In the bonsai field, we name trees according to their natural geographic homes. For example, Azuma, Nasu, and Shikoku Japanese white pines. A very important aspect of the Japanese white pine bonsai is the characteristics of the needles. They have special features depending upon the home area of the tree. However, even if the same type of tree grows in the same area, they can still be different. And so how they are cultivated makes a big difference. This is Fukushima City in Fukushima Prefecture, which is one of the homes of the Japanese white pine. Mr. Kurakichi Abe, a bonsai cultivator, collects seeds from Japanese white pines which grow wild on Mount Azuma. He produces bonsai materials from these seeds. This crooked tree trunk material is about 8 to 9 years old. It was grown from a seed. This root-connected tree material is 21 years old. It was also grown from a seed. This is wide root-connected tree material. He cultivates these in a field, keeping in mind a vision of the tree's future shapes. You can get material like this for cultivating your own bonsai. This Japanese white pine tree from Shikoku, grown from a seed, is 25 years old. It has thick silver needles and has very fine needle quality. Let's check the tree. First, you check from the 4 different sides and decide which one should be the front. Also, check which branches you want to remove. This material is twin-trunked, and so the main, or parent trunk, and the child trunk should both be seen from the front view. Also, if you think about the balance of the branches, then how about this being the front? Let's remove the branch which covers the trunk.
てしまった方が幹筋がずっと見えてきますので、これも外してみたいと思います。この上も枝が多いので、これを
Let's remove these thin branches above.
相関樹形の木なので、下枝が低すぎるので。
These branches below are too low. Also, the branches on the child trunk are too strong. I think if you remove these branches, it will have a much more beautiful twin trunk shape. These tools are necessary to help you arrange the tree's form. When you remove a branch, you should cut away not all of it at first. So cut here first, and then later cut this remaining bit away.
この脇の小さな枝も切り取ります。次に小幹の頭も大きすぎるので、これも取り去ってみたいと思います。
Cut the small branches on the side, and then on the top of the child's trunk.
でこれは陣にして
Let's make this gin.
みたいと思います。小さな枝にしています。
Cut the branch which sticks out in front of the trunk.
The
places out of which branches come can be like a bolt, or like the hub for spokes in a wheel. This part might become fatter because of this. It might be like a lump.
といって良くない枝ですので、こういうのも外してみたいと思います。
The branches which come out from the trunk to the left and right are called the bolt branches, like the bar on an old-style door. So remove one of these branches.
それでこういう枝は裏枝になってきますので。
These small branches around here are also unnecessary, so I will remove these. So when you remove branches, you must think about the shape of the tree and also the balance of the remaining branches. Sometimes branches run parallel to each other, so you could remove one of these.
こういう小さな枝もこれは重なり枝ですので。
Remember not to cut away the entire unwanted branch all at once. Cut back to this point, then cut away the rest later. Japanese white pines have a strong tendency to grow straight. You need to cut the branches more and more as you move to the top of the tree to control and save the power behind this tendency. Otherwise, the lower branches will become very thin and may die. When you feel you are almost finished trimming unnecessary branches from the tree, take another close look at the whole tree to see if any more branches should be removed. Next, we must arrange the small branches. The basic rule is, get rid of the strong branches and leave the weak ones.
この枝も切り取ります。さらに左右の長すぎる枝も切り取ります。こちらの枝も同じように長すぎる枝をここで切り取ります。先端も長すぎる場合は 切 脇の枝もで
Let's have a look at the tree before and after the arranging of the branches. Now, let's arrange the small branches. If the branch is too long, then make it shorter. Cut the branch which sticks out. Leave the short branches alone and cut the long branches. Now we have finished arranging the branches. In bonsai, the beauty of the space is very important. If you look at this tree, you will notice that the trunk and the branches aren't very interesting. However, if you consider these spaces here, you can appreciate that the bonsai does have some aesthetic reason to it. This Japanese white pine tree fell because of the weight of the snow upon it. Because of the strong wind and the snow, the branches have grown parallel. The branch which could not stand the wind and snow's assault is dead. In bonsai, we cut away the big branches, so they appear to have been removed by natural causes. This technique is called jin, and it makes the tree look much older. As the tree grows older, the jin creates more atmosphere around it. First, you use a knife to mark the part where you want to make the jin. Then, you peel the bark toward the front tip of the branch. If you make a cut like this, the part of the branch coming out of the joint will appear partly dead and partly alive, as though through natural aging. Now, when you make the jin effect, if you shave a living branch, it might be rotten, so wait 1 or 2 years, until the resin has settled inside the tree. When you make jin, you shouldn't clean the cut on the tree, and you should not leave the appearance of the blades cut on the tree. When the wild tree branch breaks off because of the weight of the snow, it is always in a downward direction. Now we can make gin as though the tip was broken. When you cut the branch at the joint, but you're not making a gin cut, you have to treat it like this. If you remove a big branch, it might leave an ugly scar, or it might eventually cause the rest of the tree to become rotten. The cut area must be scooped out, even into the main trunk. After a few years, new tissue will form, and the cut won't be visible anymore. For a Japanese white pine tree, copper wire may be used. It should be tempered at least once in a fire. It is convenient if you have 5 or 6 different kinds of wire between sizes 10 and 24. When you wire the trunk, you must thread the wire under the roots. Make sure the wire is secure, and then start wiring the rest of the tree. I'll show you how to do the wiring using fast motion. After you finish wiring, you must first bend the trunk. Next, we will see how to wire branches. First, we see how to wire 2 branches using 1 wire. The point is, secure the wire at the trunk with your hand, and then start winding it around the branches outward from there.
枝に最初の一回りをかけます。次に下の枝へ移って同じように元をよく添えてかけていきます。
Next, you have to secure the wire with your thumb.
針金を巻いたら親指で押さえながら次へ回していきます。 元をしっかり押さえて、
Next, we see a tree with two almost horizontal branches coming out from the left and the right.
枝とに針金をかけるようにします。1本の針金で2本へかける場合は固定ができないので効きませんので。
When you wire two branches with one wire, you can't secure the wire unless you use the branch above. The directions for wiring and bending have a very close relationship. When you bend the branch, you bend it in a twisting style. So if you wire in a counterclockwise way, then you must twist it in the same direction, and this will result in a healthy tree.
この針金は16番線です。本当に細かな枝の前の段階の
When you are wiring branches, don't use one per branch. Use one for two branches at a time, like this. It's easy to do wiring if you decide in advance which two branches you want to do together.
目起こしをするときは枝の先端まで針金をかけたいわけですので、一昨年の葉を全部。
The needle at the very end is last year's, so let's get rid of it.
出た葉ですね。一昨年の葉を先の細いハサミで切り取ってしまいます。小枝の仕上げの針金かけです。枝の先端で目起こしを行う。
This is how to wire the tip of a small branch. Next, to complete the wiring of the small branch, put the buds in an upward position. Now the buds on the tip are all in an upward position, so it looks beautiful. This method is called meyokoshi. Next, we'll wire the tip of the tree. Now the tip of the tree has been changed. So, I'll wire the buds around the new top, then make it a branch. Some Japanese white pines grow straight up, others creep close to the ground, so there are many basic material forms to the Japanese white pine. For example, this material, if you cultivate it crookedly, then it will have a beautiful form. In this example, if there are no lower branches and you bend the upper part like this, then you can create a bowing form. In the wild, almost no Japanese white pines grow straight upright. However, if you wish to make good use of this tree's character, you should develop its straight form. If you look at this tree, to make the trunk thicker, only one branch was allowed to grow. However, you can cultivate this as a streamer form, which looks as though the tree has grown with the wind blowing it in one direction. Or you can cultivate it into the cascade form, which grows on a cliff. A good time of year to do transplanting is when the new buds are coming out. If you transplant at this time of the year, and even if you cut the root itself quite a bit, the tree won't be hurt. You need to transplant after you have finished arranging the tree.
まず鉢から抜くためにこんな道具で
First, pull out the tree from the pot. The root system should be removed by using an edged tool. When you are cultivating a Japanese white pine, you need to transplant once every 4 to 5 years. And this tree hasn't been transplanted for several years, and so its soil is very hard. If it becomes like this, then the root system becomes so dense in the pot that water and air can't circulate well, which will result in the weakening of the tree itself. If the roots look like this, it is impossible to just get rid of the old soil without cutting the roots themselves. As you can see, the soil is a little bit moist. If you add moisture to the roots before transplanting, then it will be easier to do it.
次に箸などで周りの根を崩して。
Next, use chopsticks to untie the knotted roots. Next, remove the soil from around the roots. The purpose of transplanting is to observe the health and condition of the roots, and also to create a better root system in a better soil environment. This is one of the most important elements in bonsai.
不必要な上根が出てきたときはこれを取り去っていきます。
Get rid of unnecessary upper roots. It is good if the roots can grow in a radiating pattern. We want to have the root system grow in this way, and so it is necessary to eliminate the ones that get in the way.
これもそうですね。根はなるべく放射線状に伸ばしたいので、こういう横断しているような根を切り取っていくわけですね。状態がいいようなんです。
Cut the roots around here more, and then leave 1/3 of the old roots and soil remaining.
上根を取り去ったおかげでこんなに素晴らしい粘りが見えてきました。
After you finish arranging the upper roots, you have at last achieved this wonderful root system. Now, let's think about how to cultivate this tree, using this root system and the shape of the tree. Place the insect net inside the pot, over the drainage hole to cover it, and to block insects from entering through here. If you make a small thing with a wire, it's very convenient. This is the view of the drainage hole from the bottom. This wire is used to fix the tree. On the bottom, we have very rough lumps of soil, followed by medium soil, and then fine soil on top.
次に目土を
On the bottom of the pot, put in the rough soil, then the medium soil, and then place the tree.
次に木を据えて土の状態を
This tree was arranged so that the left side is a little bit higher. So let's put a little bit more soil here.
入れてきます。これで鉢の底に根の下によく土が馴染むようにここでこうやってよく押さえ込みます。こういっ 大気に据え付けます。次に根元を先ほどの針金で縛っていきます。根と土がよくしっくりと合うように。
To make the old and the new soils get along, use the chopsticks, like this.
土が入っちゃうんですよね。
Use your hands to push down the soil to make sure you have put in enough. Get rid of the medium soil, which is unnecessary, and then add fine soil to the top. Use a trowel to push down and settle the soil. This is the end of the transplantation. This tree has a very nice root system. Now I'll explain how to pinch buds and cut needles. To make a good bonsai, while the buds are hard, you must pinch the strong buds on their tips. Spring is the season for transplanting and for pinching buds. In spring, you should add fertilizer from May, but don't put in too much. In September, you should cut needles and add fertilizer. Towards the winter, this is the season for wiring and arranging the tree. After the new buds grow 1 or 2 millimeters, you leave 4 or 5 original needles and cut off the others using scissors. Buds which have grown too much should be cut off completely, and for short buds, leave 4 or 5 needles and cut the tip. In a case like this, the bud in the middle has grown too much, so cut it completely, and the buds on either side should be left with 4 or 5 needles.
勢いが強くてこんなに渋みが伸びた状態ですね。こういう時はここまで枝が伸びすぎてはしまう。
If new buds have grown like this, then leave only the small bud and cut off the strong buds completely.
こんな風に2目残りました。これを最後に
The trees which grow in the wild become beautiful with age. Bonsai expresses this kind of beauty in the form of a miniature tree. With its crooked trunk and great jin, this tree has a strong image of an old tree which has weathered the extremes of nature. This rock-planted Japanese pine expresses the image of a wild tree which has grown on a precipice. This tree on the rock presents itself calmly but powerfully. This is a very formal way to display bonsai in an alcove. The tree and rock and seasonal plants are displayed. A good root system and a rough trunk surface give this bowing tree an atmosphere of great age.